Our politically incorrect segment tonight, 30 colleges across the country are declaring their campuses to be safe spaces for illegal immigrants. Sanctuary campuses, they're calling themselves. These campuses would be similar to sanctuary cities, according to the students, refusing to enforce federal immigration law. But I don't think they would work out the way that they're saying it would work out. With me now, with his opinion, Editor-in-Chief of Campus Reform, Sterling Beard. Sterling, Merry Christmas. Thanks for being here.
Merry Christmas to you. Thanks for having me.
All right, Sterling, this seems to me, bluntly, to be a dumb idea. Sanctuary campus seems to me an invitation to criminals to come onto campus to avoid the law. Do these students not see that?
Well, no, they don't, even though there's apparently not really much that universities can actually do to prevent, say, ICE from coming onto campus in search of illegal immigrants. There's frankly not that much they can do. They're banking on the idea that the bad optics of having ICE come onto campus would be enough to prevent ICE from coming onto campus. But they're not banking on the fact that universities are probably going to be so scared of losing federal funding that they won't go for the sanctuary campus idea in the first place. So if I can paraphrase that early 2000s classic Mean Girls, stop trying to make sanctuary campuses happen. They're not going to happen.
Right. Plus, you'd think ICE would be more likely to actually come onto campus looking for people if they know that that's where criminals are hiding out. And I guess maybe this is a little bit harsh here, but what are these students that are advocating for these sanctuary campuses going to say when an illegal immigrant who's already committed a crime, is now trying to hide from the law, say rapes a girl on campus? Are they all going to carry their mattresses around campus then?
Well, I doubt that they would go that far. See, the problem with so much of this is that it's emotional. It's, oh, these people want a better life. The big bad federal government is run by racists, or it's an awful thing to deport people who have come here illegally. They don't think past stage 2. That's why you don't see a lot of reaction to, say, situations where you do have somebody who was killed by an illegal immigrant who'd been deported multiple times, or in your case, sexually assaulted by an illegal immigrant. If that does happen, I can't imagine there's going to be a big uproar about it from the sanctuary campus crowd, because that doesn't figure into their narrative.
No, and to me, it's almost two entirely separate issues here, and I don't understand why they don't see this, because to use your phrase, the immigrants who just want a better life, who came here illegally, for better or for worse, it is against our law, but otherwise are law-abiding citizens, that's one group. Then we have the other group. They're criminals. They've not only broken the law entering our country illegally, they've committed crimes while they were here. Some of them have even been convicted or served time in jail or in prison. Now they're back on the streets. Those are the people that benefit from sanctuary cities or these sanctuary campuses.
Exactly, but if you try to bring that argument up in folks who are aligned with the sanctuary campus movement, you're going to get called a bigot. You're going to get called a racist. You're going to be called insensitive. How could you possibly want to split families up and deport them? Come on, that's the kind of argument you get from sanctuary campus folks. It's emotional. It's not logical. It's based on wanting to feel righteous. It's based on wanting to be nice. That's the problem. You can't reach that. You can't beat those kinds of emotions with logical arguments.
No, that would cause them to need their emotional support bubbles if they're dealing with facts here. I guess what I don't understand too is why don't they just push to reform immigration law if that's what they really want, for people to be able to come here easier instead of advocating for law breaking?
Well, again, it goes back to that emotion, because when they think illegal immigrant or undocumented immigrant, whatever the politically correct term is that they want to use to refer to people who immigrated to the United States illegally, they get emotional about it. They want to care so badly. They want to help those people. They don't think past stage 1. They don't think, okay, what are the higher order causes? Maybe it's instability in their home countries. What can we do as a country in the United States to help other countries become more stable so that we reduce the flow of immigration? What can we do to make the immigration process more streamlined so that illegal immigration was less tempting? That's never a point of contention among them, because they never talk about it. That's not what the COSACHA movement or the sanctuary campus movement is about. It's about openly defying federal immigration law. And remember, that's nullification. And you and I, we're not that old. You know, we're in our mid-20s here, but even you and I are old enough to remember when we were taught that the doctrine of nullification, just ignoring federal laws, was a bad thing.
Right. And you know, I'm not opposed to the idea of the great big door and the great big wall. I mean, I think that we do need reform in our immigration laws, our immigration system. Some people wait years. Some people who don't need the extreme vetting that takes several years. I mean, we do need that reform. I have no problem with a flow of legal immigrants into this country. That's what makes our country great. But man, I just do not understand the advocacy, I should say, for illegal immigration. And just to go back to this campus, the sanctuary campus, some of these people who are advocating for this want illegal immigrants to be able to pay in-state tuition. Sterling, isn't that discrimination against Americans from states other than the states that the college is in who have to pay out-of-state tuition?
Exactly. If anything, illegal immigrant students who are attending college in state should have to pay international student tuition fees, just like, say, any other student coming legally from outside the United States would. And keep in mind, this shouldn't even be a racial issue. It shouldn't, because illegal immigration is a simple, it's an act. You have an act, and it doesn't matter where you come from. You could have an illegal immigrant from Norway, from Canada, from India, from Russia, doesn't matter where, from Australia, for crying out loud. But it all goes back to that sort of racism argument. Oh, you oppose illegal immigrants being able to pay a cheaper way at a state institution. Well, you're just a racist. Well, no, it's not about racism. It's about making sure everybody is treated equally under the law. We are a nation of immigrants, that is true, but nobody, whether it's an immigrant, an American, a natural-born U.S. citizen, a member of Congress, anybody, nobody is above the law in this country.
Right, unless your name is Hillary Clinton, and then different standards apply. Sterling, let me go back to something that you said earlier in the segment, the legality of this, the funding. I mean, many of these universities are funded from state and federal money, from monetary funds. Would they lose funding if they declared themselves sanctuary campuses?
Well, it really depends. And keep in mind, a lot of them also are dependent on federal funds as well. It's a bluff. It's a gigantic stare down, and it's a test to see who blinks first. Would the state blink first? Would the federal government under President-elect Donald Trump and a united GOP Congress blink first? Look at Texas, for example, where earlier this month you had Republican Governor Greg Abbott tweeting that the state would not tolerate sanctuary campuses or cities. You could have situations maybe out in California or bluer states where the state might tolerate it, but then it goes up to the federal government. And keep in mind, the GOP has made efforts to defund sanctuary cities in the past. And if there's one institution in the United States that is more dependent on federal funding than American cities, it's American universities. So the government, the side of the law, has a huge advantage in this.
Right. I mean, without the federal funding, where would they get the money to fund the panels, the investigative panels, to look into all those chalk drawings? I mean, that's a serious deal. They need funding for that. I don't know how they'd be able to go about their days without it.